Hi, I'm Debbie Hartner.
I'm Elsie Johnson.
We are two sisters, Southern cooking.
We are making cinnamon bread today. Years ago it used to be that, I think it was Sunbeam maybe that made it, but you could get cinnamon raisin bread in the grocery store and it had a glaze or an icing on top of it. You can barely, I've not found it with the icing on it in years.
And I wonder if it was because of maybe bacteria setting into the icing.
I don't know, but I mean you can still find cinnamon bread or cinnamon raisin bread, but it's just plain. So today we're going to make cinnamon bread and we're going to put our vanilla glaze on top of it. So that's going to be good. I can't wait to try that because that's a fond memory I have of being a young adult and a child of getting that, because that was a treat.
Yeah,
that was really like a treat to get that.
So what we're going to do is Elsie's going to go ahead and put the milk and the water in here. This has the sugar and the yeast in here. This has to be at 110. Usually I'd say between 105 and 115.
Right.
So that's your usual temperature.
And this has to sit for like 5 minutes for it to bloom. So as soon as that's done, we'll be back to finish putting the rest of the stuff into the mixer and get it mixed up.
All right, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
All right, we have waited the 5 minutes, and this is beautiful the way it bloomed. It is
full bloom.
It's picture perfect, honestly.
It is.
So we're gonna pour this in. You can see all that fermentation that has taken place. I'll get a spoon and get all that out.
Yeah. And Elsie's going to put in the salt, the 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to do 2.5 cups of flour. And then we're just going to let the dough hook do its thing for...
And then we have a 1/2 cup to add in to tighten it up. Yeah. we need to get regular
spatulas, but we have plastic spoons, so that'll do.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to pour in the 2.5 cups of bread flour. Bread flour is key. Anytime you're making bread, it's always better to use bread flour. It gives you that elasticity.
Alright, we'll go ahead and get it started and we'll be right back, guys.
Okay, it has mixed to the point now that we can take it out of the mixer here and put it in to our bowl to rise. So I'm going to just grab it out of here. It's very sticky, but that's fine because you don't want to overwork it and you don't want to put too much flour in it. So
we have butter in the bowl, so we will go ahead and just flip this a couple times to get it nice and coated. We're going to put it in our oven because we turned our oven off at 150 degrees and we're going to let it sit in there for 1 to 2 hours. How long do you want to let it sit in there for?
Let's try for an hour and see how it looks, and then
this is going to be 1 loaf. This is not 2. That's why the ball is smaller.
This was a very easy recipe to make. Sometimes you run into some problems with the dough being too flaky or the dough being too runny, and you have to balance it out with extra flour, extra water, and sometimes dough could be a little finicky, but this was actually pretty foolproof. You could just take it to the bank. It was a good recipe.
Hey y'all, our cinnamon bread dough has risen really nicely, so we're going to roll that out and get our cinnamon and sugar mixture on it, and then we're going to roll that up and put it in the pan here to rise again. Okay, so we've gotten our dough out and I'm fixing to roll it out into a rectangular shape. And then we'll spread our cinnamon and sugar mixture on top, and then we'll roll it up. Similar to the bread that we did a couple weeks ago or a week ago.
Where we folded it like a little letter. So,
And see if I can stretch this out a little bit so it's more cohesively even.
so we're gonna put this on top of it, like we're gonna sprinkle this here, and they said like 1 inch out from the edge, so we don't wanna.
Very, very similar to making cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
The concept. Because you don't bring your cinnamon mixture all the way to the edge either when you're doing cinnamon rolls. I'm just gonna spread this out so it's more level.
So,
Okay,
all right.
so I'm gonna start rolling it. This is probably wider than we needed it. So this is it's gonna spread longer as you roll it. But we can tuck in the edges.
Yes, because we're gonna pinch off the ends of it. So what you do is just pinch.
Let's just bring it a
and
little more.
and pinch off the end of it. Yeah, like your end, and tuck it in.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna let this rise again for another hour, and then we'll put it in the oven and bake it. Looks so cool. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna set this aside, let it rise for an hour, and then we'll bake it.
We'll see you guys when we come back.
Now, as you can see, the loaf of bread has risen up above the pan. The last thing we're going to do before we put it in the oven is we're going to brush some butter on it. And then we'll put it in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes. And then when we get it out, then we're going to put our vanilla glaze on the top of it after it's cooled down. You don't want to put it on there while it's warm because it'll just run off. So we're going to let it fully cool, and then we're going to glaze it with our vanilla glaze.
Our bread is completely cold, so we're going to go ahead and start pouring our glaze across our bread here. And we're just going to let it sit here and drain until it's dry, and then we'll wait for it and we can slice it up. I might have to put an extra piece of parchment paper down just so it doesn't like run all over the place. But it looks pretty darn good. Hey y'all, it's Debbie. So we are going to go ahead and start cutting up our bread. So remember what we said, the bread has to be completely cold, and you have to take your blade the entire way through, all the way down to the bottom. And that is what our bread looks like. It looks delicious. I went ahead and put glaze on it, so it's a little harder to cut with the glaze on, but the glaze is dried. So it's going to stick to it just fine. So that's pretty. Remember what I said, take it straight through all the way. Use the entire length of your blade and go straight down. I did have my guide here today just in case if we needed it.
but so far, I think actually the guide would not be as useful and beneficial as doing it freestyle like this, because I'm afraid that it would really kind of smash it, and we want to be able to keep the bread as intact as possible. So do you remember that bread you used to get when you were a kid that was cinnamon raisin or cinnamon bread, and you had a glaze on top of it? Well, here you go. This is our version of that. Key to this is let it cool completely so you can get a good cut on this. This might give me a little bit of trouble here, so we're getting down to the last pieces here. All right. Okay, y'all, so this is what it looks like when it's done. It's sliced, it's beautiful, it looks delicious, it's got plenty of cinnamon and sugar inside of it, and it has a nice glaze on the top. I think this is going to be simply delicious, y'all. So you guys, we will see you in our next video. And I'm Debbie.
We're two sisters Southern cooking.
And we thank you for visiting our page. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.